Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. Got my little tree mug here and tea today, but it's really good green tea, so what are you gonna do? So today's video is going to be a book haul. What can I say? I like books. First off, let me just show you this shirt because I absolutely love it. It is a Loki shirt and it says burdened with glorious purpose, and I love it. And I got it from a place called Afterlife, and they have some like Marvel superhero type shirts. They've got some Harry Potter type shirts, some Star Wars type shirts, and other things like Plant Mom, whatever. But I absolutely love this shirt. I love the style of it and the color, and it's great. And I obviously like Loki because he's a good villain. Alright, so this may be a little bit of a lengthy book haul. It's not my biggest, but it's not my smallest, so just bear with me. The first few that I'll get out of the way right out of the bat are the ones that I've done book unboxings for, so we won't get into these books because I already have in my previous videos. The first of which being Afterlife by Tanya Byrne. We got this in a fairy loot as an extra book in August, so there's that one. And in that same fairy loot, we got These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, which I'm actually really excited to read. Can't wait. And because I've been saving up these books for a couple of months, we also have The Shadow in the Glass by J.J. Harwood, I think is how you say it. And it's a really beautiful book with beautiful edges. And I got this in the Lit Joy Crate box. And from my July Furry Loot box, I got Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lynn. Super pretty. So those are all my bookish box books, and now we'll get into the other books that I got. These next two I'm really excited about because it's half of the ones that I want to get in this collection, and those are the season editions of classics by Thomas Nelson. And I had been looking for this one in particular. I think I actually mentioned this in the video when I showed you my really fancy edition of Wuthering Heights that I got from Lit Joy Crate, because I had really wanted the season edition of Wuthering Heights, but it was sold out. I couldn't find it anywhere, and if you could find it somewhere, it was like $200, $100 because people were upselling it. And I randomly stumbled across a copy on Amazon, and I grabbed it because it was a really good price. And that is, of course, Wuthering Heights Season Edition by Emily Bronte. And these are the beautiful editions where they have this like laser cut paper slipcover over the hardcover. And this is what the Wuthering Heights one looks like. This is the winter season, part of the winter edition. And it's got really pretty light blue sprayed edges and a ribbon bookmark, and the back looks like this. And the back says, "My love for Linton is like the foliage in the woods. Time will change it, I'm well aware, as winter changes the trees. My love for Heathcliff resembles the eternal rocks beneath, a source of little visible delight, but necessary." Can you hear this music that is outside of my house? Somebody's jamming out there. I think that was like somebody's phone as they were walking by my house. That was so loud. Props to you, man. But anyway, these editions are beautiful. It's got pretty end pages and says this book belongs to Old School. It has Wuthering Heights Seasons Edition. And that's the book number out of 10,000 because they only make 10,000 of each, which is why I am shocked that I did get a copy of this, but I'm so happy I did. So that's this. And I really want to get one of each season. I don't want to collect all of them, but I did want to pick one that I prefer from each season, and this was the one I really wanted for winter, so I'm so glad that I was able to get it. And in that same vein, I also got a spring edition, and I was really excited about this because it was a really good price, like $12, and I couldn't believe it, so I immediately grabbed it. And that is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And this is the spring edition that I wanted. I wanted Sherlock Holmes out of the options that were presented, and it's this really pretty, like bright green with the blue underneath. And on this one, it has this like paper thing on the back, and it says, "The trees and wayside hedges were just throwing out their first green shoots, and the air was full of the pleasant smell of the moist earth. To me, at least, there was a strange contrast between the sweet promise of the spring and this sinister quest upon which we were engaged." I've always loved Sherlock Holmes, like the shows and different stories and all of that, but I've never just like gone through and read all of Sir Conan Arthur Doyle's works on Sherlock Holmes, so I'm really excited that I do have this, and it is a season edition. Can't wait. I just need to grab fall and summer, and then I'm set. And again, it has the little end page that has this and the number of the edition I have out of the 10,000. So very thankful for this. I'll probably never take the plastic off of this so it never gets damaged. Another book that I picked up over these past couple months is The Queen of Blood by Sarah Beth Durst. This has been a book that I have been really interested in for quite a while now. I've heard Elliot Brooks talk about this, and just the whole aesthetic of this story sounds super interesting. And I think I found this for like $6 or $7 brand new, so I immediately got it because it's hardcover, and I prefer paperback, honestly, to a lot of books when I'm reading them. However, I really dislike mass market paperback, and that was the only one that I was finding for this, or if you could find it in a normal size paperback, it seemed to be really expensive comparable to the hardcover. So I was very excited when I found this for such a good price. And basically from what I've heard of this story is there's this queen who is in charge of keeping this forest that has like all these magical spirits in it in check, and these spirits become angry and they start lashing out and killing people, and she is in charge of controlling it and trying to stop it from killing everyone, and also finding out why it is trying to kill everyone. She's the only one with the magic ability to kind of settle this forest, to stop it from killing everybody, and basically she's the only hope for humankind to survive. And that's just kind of the bare bones gist of the story, and that's kind of how I want to go into it. But I've heard pretty good things about this book, at least the first one, and I'm really excited to get into it at some point. The next one I got is Sight Witch by Susan Dennard. And I grabbed this because it was also on sale for like $5 or $6. And I recently purchased the rest of the Witchland series, so I have books 1 through 4, and this is like a prequel, or like I think it's after like the second novel, and between the second and the third novel is this little novella. So when I saw that it was such a good price and I knew I had the rest of them, I went ahead and grabbed it, and it was hardcover, so it kind of matches my other ones. And yeah, I can't really tell you what this is about because it's in the middle of a series, but basically what Truth Witch is about is a witch has this, there's a lot of abilities that these different witches have, and she is a truth witch, which means that she can tell when people are lying, and it's used as a political pawn, and it's a really powerful tool. So if anybody finds out what she is, she would be chased. And a blood witch catches her scent, which means he can track her no matter where she goes. And the story kind of goes from there. I started Truth Witch, I haven't finished it or continued it because my TBRs got out of control. But I am really excited to read the series, and I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. So I went ahead and grabbed this while I had the chance. The next one I got is gonna be kind of an odd purchase, but it is Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence. And this is the third book in the Ancestor trilogy, and I know that seems kind of odd that I'm getting the third book and not the first or the second. But the reason I did that is because I do have a plan to read the entire series at some point. My husband actually just listened to them all on audiobook, and I would really like to read them, but this is another case of I hate mass market paperbacks. I hate them. And the only ones I've been able to find for these books have been mass market paperbacks or hardcovers, and hardcovers are kind of expensive for adult fantasy. And I saw this one for, say it with me, like $5 or $6. And because I know I want to read it, I went ahead and grabbed this while the hardcover edition was so cheap. That way, even if I have to buy the first one on hardcover full price or for 20 bucks or whatever it is, at least I didn't have to do that for all of them. When I know there's a series I want to read and I know I want to read the whole series, that's when I allow myself to do things like this. So that's why I picked up this one. Red Sister. I don't know like the synopsis or the premise that well, but basically it's about a magical school for fighting nuns that are like super powerful and awesome, and that's all I need to know, honestly, going in to know that I'm gonna love it. And I've heard Emily Fox talk about this series, and I think she liked the first book a lot more than the rest of them, even though I think she still really liked it, and I'm excited to get to the series sometime. All right, these next 3 books were actually a late birthday present from my mother and father-in-law. It just didn't work out in our schedules for us to meet. I believe we tried to meet, we live in different states, and there was a time that we tried to meet up for like lunch, and we ended up having to cancel and things got in the way, life, plans, work. I was finally able to see them in person. This is my birthday present, and I was really excited about it because this is a trilogy I have been wanting to read for a while, and they got me these really pretty editions that I've been wanting, so I'm really excited. And that is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. And this is the first Law trilogy. And I believe these are technically like collector's editions, but anyway, they're hardcovers, so there's no dust jacket on these. And I really like this style, and I really hate like the original covers, and these are just so pretty that I was really excited about these and asked for these for my birthday. Actually, I just asked for the first one, honestly. And they got me The Blade Itself, Before They Are Hanged, and The Last Argument of Kings, which is the First Law trilogy. I really love these editions because if you can tell, I'll show you the back. It has like a map inlaid in the entire cover and then whatever art is on the front. And I absolutely love that. I think they're absolutely so stunning. I love that I have these editions. I'm very excited. And I'll put these two aside because obviously I'm not going to tell you about the second and the third one. I don't know what they're about. I'll read you what the back of the blade itself says. So it says, a crippled, bitter torturer, a dashing, useless army officer, a berserker who no longer has a cause, and the bald old fraud of a magus who brings them all together. And that's just kind of a little like teaser type thing. And I know like there's like a looming war and different elements of the story. I'm not super familiar with the synopsis, but I've heard nothing but good things. And this is an adult fantasy that's kind of been on my radar and on my list of wanting to get to for a really long time. So it's one of those things that's good to ask for your birthday because you're just not sure how you feel about it, but you really want to read it sometimes. So I was really excited to get this, and I have heard about a character specifically named Glokta, and I think Glokta would be my favorite, and I cannot wait to read about him, and I think I'm really gonna like it, if not just for him. But yeah, I'm just happy to have this trilogy finally, just because it's so well known in the fantasy realm, and I've told you all this before, like I love YA fantasy, but I am trying to get into more adult fantasy, and I'm excited to do this at some point. The next book I got was actually one of my pre-orders that I put in at the beginning of the year, and that is Gods and Monsters by Sheldon Mahurin. And this is a Barnes & Noble signed first edition. It was like $15, so I thought if I can get it for $15 and it's signed, I might as well. So that's what I did. This is the third book in the Serpent and Dove series. I don't know if it has a name. I don't think it does. I don't think the series has a name, but first book is Serpent and Dove. And I actually just recently read Blood and Honey, and now I can get to this one, and it is a little bit chunkier, and I'm excited to see how the series ends. I hope that this book kind of just pulls all the loose ends together and you just get to see a lot of the really cool magic. That's what I'm hoping for. If you haven't read Serpent and Dove or you don't know what it's about, basically in a series of precarious events, a witch and a witch hunter end up into a forced marriage. And the witch hunter doesn't know that his wife is a witch. She knows that he is a witch hunter though, and so chaos ensues as she is trying to hide her identity, and also she is on the run from a mysterious threat, and he is also trying to eliminate a threat. And I really have liked the first book. Again, I said I didn't care for the second book a whole lot, but it was okay, and I am curious to see how this series is going to wrap up. The next book I got is The Queen's Secret by Melissa de la Cruz, and the entire reason I got this was because Barnes & Noble was having a sale, and this was 50% off, so I think it was like $8. And I have the first one, which is The Queen's Assassin, that I've been really curious to get to, and I haven't yet, but I knew I needed the second one. So because it was on sale, I went ahead and grabbed it. And basically what The Queen's Assassin is about, from what I know, since I haven't read it, is that there is a Queen's Assassin, obviously, and he's this guy trying to protect the Queen, and he has this like forged bond with the Queen. And I believe if he dies, she dies, and vice versa. And he ends up training an apprentice who's a female, and I think things start to become unraveled and things aren't necessarily what they seem, and I think a lot of his morals and beliefs he's always had are challenged. So that's kind of all I really know of the first book. This is the sequel. Eventually when I read them, I will let you know how they are. Another book I got is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and I got this because it was at an outlet type store, and I have Aurora Rising that I haven't picked up yet, but I'm really curious about this trilogy. And because I know this hadn't come out that long ago and was a hardcover that matched my other hardcover, I went ahead and grabbed it. As you may have been able to pick up, especially in this video, I have a problem with buying series in entirety, especially if I started buying the series, so like I picked up the first one in hardcover, because then they come out with a paperback version and then the hardcovers are hard to find. So when I find the hardcovers on sale and I already have the first hardcover, I tend to buy the second one. I know I have a problem, but I like reading and I like my books to match. So there's this one. Aurora Rising, I'm trying to remember the synopsis. It's been so long ago since I read the synopsis. Basically a YA science fiction, and I think it evolves around the Aurora Academy, and they're being assigned to their like first missions, and then they find this girl that's trapped in cryosleep, and they awaken her, and the squad of people kind of become the only hope for the galaxy. Sounds fun, but I haven't read it yet, but here's the second book. The next one I got is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. The reason I picked this up was because it was on sale. The version I had was the Book of the Month version, and so whenever I have I don't have that many book of the month versions, but if I like the book and I have the book of the month version, especially if there's a sequel, I will trade in or sell or donate the book of the month copy and then buy the original so that they match. So I went ahead and got the normal version of All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace because I did really like this book. Another one that I got on sale that I've just had my eye on for a really long time and just never picked up is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. And this is a Christmas Carol retelling. So it's like Ebenezer Scrooge retelling that this Holly Chase has had a terrible Scrooge-like life, and then she gets a second chance and to become like these Christmas spirits to change her heart. And I've heard it's just a really cute story to read around Christmas. The back is really pretty. And so because it's been on my radar and I've kind of been curious about it for a while, I went ahead and grabbed it. Hopefully I can read it around Christmas, see if I like it. The next book I got is The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. And this is a book I've been wanting for a really long time, and on my actual birthday, my husband and I went to Barnes & Noble. He let me go ahead and pick out a book, and so I grabbed this one because I have been really curious about this book for a very long time because I've heard that it is a Princess Bride retelling, and I absolutely love The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I just love the story so much, and I'm really curious about how they're gonna do the retelling of this and spinning it so that the princess is saving the prince or the pauper or whoever it is. I'm really curious about this book, and all I needed to know was that it was a Princess Bride retelling for me to be interested in this. And so I'm super excited to finally have this, and I got a paperback, which I love because I love reading paperbacks. And I didn't know that this was a duology or a series, I'm not even sure. But I know the second book just came out recently, so... Oh yeah, here it is. Oh, this is called The Kingdoms of the Sand and Sky, and book 2 is on the back and it says The Queen Will Betray You. So, really excited to get to this. I hope to be able to get to this soon. I'm just so curious about this. If you've read this, tell me what you think. The next books I got in my quest to complete the Shadowhunter universe is the Dark Artifices trilogy. So I got Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, with those super cool map spines, which is the first book in the Dark Artifices. Lord of Shadows, which is the second book. And Queen of Air and Darkness, which is the third book. Look at this thing. Look how thick this is. There's no need for this book to be this thick. No need. But anyway. As you may have known, I've been going through the Shadowhunter universe and reading all the series, and usually after I read the series, then I buy the paperback versions with the really cool spines that have the image on the back. And this one is no exception, so once I finished the series or was almost done with the series, I went ahead and grabbed it because the box set was like 20 bucks, and that's pretty good, so I grabbed it. Next on my list is Chain of Gold paperback, because that just came out. The next book I got, which is also kind of a random book in a series, is Tower of Swallows by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And this is the fourth, I believe? Yeah, the fourth Witcher book. And the reason we got this, if you can tell by the giant sticker, this was a very reasonable price, and my husband and I are trying to read the Witcher books and trying to go through them, but we haven't really bought a lot of them. We bought this Illumicrate version of The Last Wish, which is like the short stories, and I hope and pray that Illumicrate does matching editions to all of the Witcher books, but we'll see. Anyway, in the possibility that they don't do matching versions, we do want to read these books, and because this is an adult fantasy and it was dirt cheap, we went ahead and grabbed the fourth book. And this was the only one of the series that was this price, so that's why we only got the fourth book. And it's not a mass market paperback, so that's a win. I hate these like Netflix stickers though. Hey, speaking of Joe Abercrombie, when we were at that same bookstore, we stumbled upon A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie in this paperback version, and it was also a very good price. And at first I was like, do I really want to be buying this Joe Abercrombie book when I haven't read any Joe Abercrombie and I just got the first Law trilogy? But then I was asking my husband about it because I think he'll also like it. And we looked up reviews on Goodreads, we looked up what the synopsis was. I obviously looked at what the synopsis was on the back here. And we decided we wanted to give it a shot because it was so cheap. And because I already kind of have a feeling I'm gonna like Joe Abercrombie, and it's the floppiest of paperbacks. And this cover's pretty cool, actually. But anyway, so that's why we grabbed this one. Honestly, when I look at the synopsis, it kind of confuses me, but basically it's saying that Leo struggles to win fame on the battlefield and defeat the marauding armies of Stour Nightfall. He hopes for help from the crown, but King Jezal's son, the feckless Prince Orzo, is a man who specializes in disappointments. And then it looks like this is like, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but a famous person's daughter plans to claw her way to the top of society by any means necessary. And it's talking about the age of machines dawning, but the age of magic refuses to die. And it's like a power struggle and these people trying to get help from in this war. The synopsis is kind of confusing, but it sounds really interesting and I think it'll be really good. Hopefully it is. I can let you know once I read it. And the last book I got, because I have heard a lot of things about it, some good, some bad, it was a really good price, is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. As you can see, really good price. All those 3 books were great prices, and that's why we got them, because we've heard pretty good things about them. I'm sure you've seen this on Book Talk. This is basically, from what I know, is a kind of African-inspired fantasy, and there are dragons, I think. There better be dragons. Heard there are dragons, but then I feel like when people talk about this book, they don't talk about the dragons, so maybe they're like more a part of the world, but not in this book necessarily. I don't know. It says like a world is caught in eternal war, and it's like one young man will become people's only hope for survival. And I believe this is a revenge story in kind of the same vein where the beginning of Red Rising is a revenge story. I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. I've heard good things about this. I've heard not so great things about this. I think my husband is more interested in this book than I am, which is why he wanted to get it, which is fine. So I may get to this if you guys really want me to read it. If not, I think I'll get to it eventually, just not immediately. Either way, we, as a family, always love getting good fantasy, adult, or YA, especially at a good price. So happy to have another fantasy book on my shelf. All right, everyone, well, that was it for today's book haul. There's quite a bit of books there. Sorry if I was a little vague and rushing. I was trying to get through all of them. And the rest of the day, I'm gonna be doing some reading so I can get some book reviews up. And honestly, I wanna play some PlayStation because I'm on call all weekend and I kinda wanna chill. All right, everyone, well, let me know if there's any books that you've picked up in the last couple months or any books in this haul that you saw that you're really curious about or that you would like to see any reviews on or thoughts on. I will do my best to read those and get those up for you. If you've read any of the books mentioned, let me know what you thought. Go ahead and like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.